one. So I'm very happy, Maria, that we meet every second week, because it's for me. We have some rules in our life, and these rules are the rules that they keep us alive. Like you say, every morning I will go to the gym or to run, and you keep that, and that is the foundation, the basis of keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So today's topic is when to pivot. Explain, Maria. I don't know. You are the expert.
Not sure I'm an expert, but the reason why I was interested in that subject is because, first of all, I've pivoted at the beginning of this year, and I've actually spoken to a bunch of people who've gone through the same situation where they decided they needed to change something in their life, so pivot towards something different. And so I thought it was a really interesting topic. And are you okay, Alex?
My super camera.
Your computer fell. So the reason why I thought it was an interesting topic is because in life, there's lots of moments where we come to a crossing point where we're asking ourselves, should I do this? Should I not do this? And so I thought it was interesting, and I wrote a newsletter about it, and the reasons why we tend to refrain from making changes in life, because sometimes we're too attached to things, or we're afraid. It's often fear that holds us back. And in this case, for me, it was interesting. It was about my business. I decided at the beginning of this year to pivot the people I work with, like pivot my my ideal client. And up to last year, I was focusing on leadership, corporate companies, business, leadership development, and things like that. And last year, I had a lot of small business owners come to me, and entrepreneurs some of them were starting their business, some were further down the road, but were struggling to scale their business. And they came to me, so they sort of found me, and I started working with these people, and I realized I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with them. I felt like I could really add value. My experience from the corporate world could really translate, which I hadn't realized it could at the time. And so at the end of the year, I was at this point where I was like, oh, what do I do? Should I pivot? Should I change who my clients are and focus fully on these clients? Or should I stay with the corporate companies, which seems safer, they pay more money, but at the same time, my heart wasn't there. I've been with corporate all my life. I wanted to go where my heart was dictating me to go. So I was at that point where I was like, do I do it now?
So let me say something, and I want to ask you also something. So I think that what you are saying about pivoting, it's something that is, when you start a business, it's impossible not to pivot at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a discovery process.
Yeah.
So you start, like, you have an idea, and then you apply what you are doing, and then you see opportunities, you see things that don't go that well.
Exactly.
And the more you work, the more other doors open. Yeah. And that is what I say always to people: go and start, and by doing things, you will discover also other things. So the ideas, they don't come in the couch. They come as you go, and you work in things.
Absolutely.
But I want to ask you something here. So on this event that we were on Saturday, there was this gentleman, Ian Gibbs, I think. He made the example of the alga that doubles, and so that you have a flat line, and basically at the end of the line it starts to go up.
Yeah.
Through my experience, is whatever I did successful in my life was immediately successful. It had something there.
Wow, lucky.
No, it's not lucky, because I did also many other things that were not successful.
Yeah.
But my question is, so if you start so when you gonna start pivoting, or you gonna stick on the original plan? And
and that's why it's hard to make that decision, because you're like, okay, I've put so much, because you have invested so much into the business, into what you've been doing, and the marketing, and and speaking to the people, and now you're going to change completely. So there's an emotional attachment, first of all, which makes it really hard to make that decision. And then there's this thing where people tell you need to stick it out, consistency and time and all. But I think at one moment you need to gather the data. So obviously it shouldn't be a decision that's made just based on emotions. Obviously business can't be run that way. You need to gather the data, and you need to look at what's happening. And for me it was obvious that I was having more clients on that side than on the other. I also spoke to a lot of HR departments and companies who told me, with everything that's going on in the world, lots of people are being laid off. Well, the last thing that they're investing money in, it's learning and development. Those are the first budgets that been cut. So that's the kind of budget where I would be, brought in on. So on one side, my clients that I was working with, they weren't going to harm me, because right now there's a crisis and they're firing people right, left and center, and they're not going to spend money on leading and developing people. On the other hand, I had all these people coming to me wanting to do this, and it just felt right. So I felt like there was several things that were telling me, I need to do it. And at some point I need to make a decision, because you can become complacent and you can stay somewhere where it feels safe. But it's maybe not the right thing to do. So at some point you have to make a decision one way or another.
Yes, but let me ask you this, because you said before that you plan also to make some changes in your website. So when you have a dual message, so you see that works, but I would like also to experiment or go also the other way, or I can see
I'm going full in.
You're going to drop the previous message and concentrate on the new one.
I completely dropped it. I'm still working with corporate companies, but I only do training days with them. So that's something I enjoy doing, like team trainings. So I only do training days with groups of people. I don't do any more individual coaching, which is something that I didn't enjoy that much. And so like that, I can focus on really, working with the people I want to work with, teams of people, or small business owners and entrepreneurs. So it was keeping the stuff that I enjoyed doing, that I felt was right. And still it makes sense, because I'm working with small businesses also to help them with their leadership teams and so it's still aligned with helping them as leaders, helping them and their leadership team. So I'm not completely changing what I'm doing. It's just I'm more niche. I don't know if it's more niche or if it's just being clear on what I want to do. And I think it takes time also as a business owner to figure out what you want to do.
Yes, but what I say, my comments are here. So I notice with me, right? It's not necessarily the amount of work that you need to invest in doing something. It occupies one certain part of your brain.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. So when you say, okay, I'm done with that now, I will concentrate on that, then even if the other thing is not a lot, but it occupies a big part of your brain, and you need to get rid of that. That is the one thing. And the second thing is what I see as a big challenge on my business. So to give you an example, I could add a lot of marketing, let's say, services on my business. Not a wide range of marketing, but some specific direct sales related marketing. But marketing, it's a word that I avoid like the devil.
Because you don't like it.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's because it confuses the message. And it brings me also in the territory, this marketing area, let's say, of business. It's a crazy crowded marketplace that I don't want to jump in. So by adding more, or let me put it on the contrary, by simplifying your message and taking out things, you have more success. You make your message stronger.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and I think, and to be fair, I've and I say this to my clients who are starting their businesses, like, you start your business with an idea and you think you know what it's going to be, and it's going to change 50 times because you're going to get feedback from your clients. You're going to have people come to you. You're going to be asked to do things. So it's not going to be what you thought it will be even a year later. And that's fine. And And it's not because something's not working straight away that you should drop it and change. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you need to pivot. There's moments where you have to push through and maybe just adjust your strategy. And for me, this is the first time in 4 years that I actually decide I'm doing a big shift. So it's been 4 years that I've been in business, and I've been fine-tuning, tweaking, doing things. Things have changed along the way, but this was the first time that I'm like, you know what? This feels right. It's also the first time this feels right. You see?
And if that feels right,
well, it sat well with me. And before, it never always felt like, oh, I'll try this, we'll see. But this is the first time where I was like, this feels right, I'm going to do it.
no, if it feels right, follow your gut feeling. Your gut feeling,
I believe
it shows you the right path.
Yeah.
You cannot explain it. Not everything works with logic. So it's follow
Yeah.
your gut feeling. But what I see is I'm experimenting in various stuff. What I also see as a threat is that there is stuff that I've tried and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But then when the time passes, those ideas come again in my mind and say, oh, guys, you because we tested you and it doesn't work. You don't work. So I'm also experimenting. I'm trying to see new ways, and I will certainly. It's going to come a point where I will, for good, I will not anymore think about things that don't work because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that's the word. It's really experimenting. It's about being really, brutally honest with yourself about, what you're doing, what you're good at, what your business is, the market, and you need to take it. And that's something I think we don't do enough, is take a step back and look at everything and look at the data, listen to what your instincts are telling you, but also speak to other people, get feedback, and because it's very hard to be self-aware completely. And often other people, and even just having a conversation with somebody, can just bring up things that you hadn't thought about. So I definitely wouldn't recommend, like, if suddenly, you're deciding I'm going to pivot and change everything. Maybe everything doesn't need to be thrown away. Maybe some things just need to be changed. Maybe it's just adjusting the strategy. But it's taking that time when you feel things are not right, that it's not working, that you're stuck, to take a pause, press that button, and think, okay, let's look at everything. Let's look at the things. Let's see how it feels. Let's speak to people, and then maybe let's experiment. If you don't want to change too much in one go, as you said, experiment. This worked, didn't work. No, okay, let's try this. That works, doesn't work. Oh, this working. Let's do more of that. And you don't need to do a full change. As I said, this is the first time I'm doing something as drastic, and but sometimes you have to do that too. So it's an experiment. If it doesn't work, well, we'll try something else.
I think a lot of people, as you mentioned at the beginning, there is this fear. The fear is there because they see a successful business at the peak of its performance. Let's say, okay, when Amazon started, how did it start? If you look at the first website, the first it was like nothing. So you start from somewhere and you develop.
Yeah.
That is one thing. Second thing is what you said, the extroversy. The more extrovert you are and the more people you meet, the more ideas you will hear. And not necessarily, it's not that somebody is going to come and tell you the golden way to succeed, but from the things that he says, maybe some of them are correct, and you can adapt them through your experience and create a new product that is very successful and understand something that other people don't understand. And that is the way to be successful. Because if you do the same thing, and I see friends of mine, they go on traditional businesses, and there's another one in the row that sells exactly the same product. How good can that go, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea.
To do what? To do the same as other people, or what are you saying?
To do the same as everybody else.
Yeah. Well, if you want to stand out, definitely not. And the thing is, the market is, saturated. I mean, now everybody can hire anybody anywhere in the world. The competition is everybody, and yeah, you need to be able to articulate clearly your value and how you're helping your clients to really stand out.
And understand also the different client, different target markets that you have in front of you.
Yeah,
that's key in my opinion. So have a deeper understanding who is your target market and what are they searching and how you can help them.
what are their pain points?
The pinpoints and also the secret. There is the real activity and the secret activity. The real.
What's the secret? I'm intrigued. What's the secret activity?
Let me, because I'm confusing words. There is what it appears to be the issue, and what appears to be the value.
Okay, so well, I'd word it differently. What they think their problem is and what in reality it is, right? Because often the client will come to you with a problem, but in reality it's something else, and you discover that.
Something else that maybe he himself doesn't realize.
Yeah, even themselves they're not aware of. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So if you find solutions to what's the real pain,
Yeah.
So you advertise a car and you talk about, let's say, you can drive very fast with that car and I don't know, has a condition, but it's not about that. It's about the prestige, for example. The prestige is the hidden motivation behind, but no one talks about that on purpose. So it's this understanding. That's a very simplified example, of course, but this deeper understanding of what we are offering is the key.
I think understanding what's keeping them awake at night, or what I mean, for business owners, I'm finding it's really they're worried about everything about. Is this going to work? Will I be able to pay my employees? How do I scale? I'm stuck. I'm not able to grow, or all these things that keep them awake at night are often simple tweaks, but they don't have the, let's say, the visibility or the sometimes the skills or the knowledge to know how to get over them, and they need somebody to come in and tell them or help them do that, see it and figure it out.
And I think now that you are switching to the startups and you have also an audience that is also more, you can help more, and it's more, the communication, it's not filtered through other layers, let's say, that prohibit to have the open communication that is needed.
Your pet peeve, which you get always stuck on, but that's you're right, actually, because that's also something that I took in consideration when looking at the data to make this decision. Was okay, to work with a corporate company, it takes a long time. First, you need to get in the door, and then once you do, you between your first conversation and actually starting to work with them, it takes a long time because they need to set you up as a provider. They need to speak to. I mean, there's so much red tape and people involved. It takes forever. It takes a lot of time on your side and effort. Whereas you're working with small businesses, they're like, okay, they're leaner, they're quicker, they make their decision faster. It's yes or it's no. We have the budget, yes or no, and also they pay on time, which often corporates don't, and they're more pleasure to work with because you're actually working with the decision makers, the people that can make an impact and make decisions quickly to make the changes that need to happen to move the business forward, which is not always the case again with corporates. And I've worked 22 years in corporate. I don't have anything against them. I have lots of friends in corporate, but it's just as from my perspective now, as leading my own business and wanting to help these people, I find it very frustrating sometimes to try and work with people that either don't want to be helped, because it's a tick the box exercise that they need to bring in somebody because they have a budget for it or something. and some of them are just doing that, because they said they do it, versus a small business owner who has a real problem, wants to grow, they're enthusiastic, they care about their business, they care about their people, they're ready to do the work. It's such a different work relationship, and yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel the value added so much more. I add so much more value. So that's also one of the reasons. Absolutely.
I am with you 100% on that. So I cannot agree more than with all the things that you mentioned and you said.
And
Yes.
so you, Alex, who because you work with big companies, small companies. What's your experience here?
So first of all, big corporate, yes, I want big corporate because they pay very well. Okay. So that is one thing. Secondly, the other key factor on big companies is that the one that somebody that pays you, he doesn't pay you from his own money. He pays you from the corporate money. So that changes a lot in the relationship that you have. That is the good stuff. Now, the bad stuff is everything that you said, the long period to all the bureaucracy. And I had a client the other day, I need to fill up a form. I mean, ridiculous questions that are, I don't know, I find them so out of context to be asked those questions, because we are a small company, obviously. So, but the challenge that I face many times with startups is that the necessary budget is not there. Yeah. So that's the only challenge. I also find it also challenging sometimes. The startups, they have an idea that is not tested many times, right? Not always, not always. So maybe the budget is there, but they don't know they've been funded from someone, so they have the money to spend, but the idea, it's an idea that is not tested. So we don't know what we will face. I don't know, they don't know. So we combine forces to make things happen. The ideal client for me, it's a healthy medium organization. Yeah. That means 100 employees.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
They make a lot of money.
They're doing well. They're doing well, and they're growing.
And you speak with the head directly, and you have a very fruitful collaboration. That is my ideal client.
Yeah, same.
So yes,
same.
So that's the idea. The ideal.
Yeah, I think a business that's doing well, but for me, it's a business that's doing well but struggling to get to the next level, and that's when they need help. But so have you ever pivoted, Alex? Because that's really what we're talking about here. Have you ever had a big pivot? I mean, I know in your life you have, because you've yes. had several businesses, but yes. in your current business, have you ever had that experience?
I didn't have a radical change in my business, okay? But certain things changed. Now, what is for me the biggest challenge is because it's not, I make money also from that part, and the other part is also, let's say, partly successful. So I don't want to exclude parts that work.
No, you shouldn't.
Yes, I shouldn't, but then I have a double message, and that is confusing for me. So I'm trying to separate. Now, another thing that I can certainly give you an advice, because I tested that and I advise everybody not to do that. I consider that to be a very big mistake, is to create a second website.
Oh yeah, no, then people really get confused.
It's not that people are getting confused, but first of all, it takes some time to bring life to your website. It takes some time. It's not something that happens overnight. But then you double your work. You double your work.
Yeah.
So it was something that it really influenced negatively both websites. And in some point, so I had this Alex Valasidis coach, let's say, website, which at the end I integrated that to the V Paragon one as a separate part of it. Yeah. And I have now everything under one website. I'm trying hard not to confuse the messages.
Yeah.
So I give a specific picture on some audiences, and then on other audiences, I give another picture. I use another terminology, let's say. No, in the current website, I didn't do a pivot, as you said. I didn't. It's not like but obviously in my life there's been changes.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of business, Maria, in my life.
I know.
Most of them failed. So we
That's how you learned. They were
Exactly.
lessons. Yeah.
10% succeeded. So I have a lot of experience in what can work and what cannot work.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes. So you cannot be successful out of nothing unless you are super lucky. So you need to jump in the water and start doing things, and by doing you will see what works and what doesn't work. Right? So technology was the reason that I closed my first business, but also was the reason that I opened the second business that was successful. In between, there's been a lot of, I had a store for Mediterranean products, super unsuccessful. A variety of different lead generation, many things that for one reason or the other reason or the third reason, they didn't work.
So at what point? So at what point did you decide? Okay, now I need to pivot. This is not working. Like how? What did you do that made you think, okay, this is it?
Okay, so what regards my first business, the business started to decline in some point. So there was a point, a financial point, where I couldn't hold it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't making any, I was losing money. I was losing every month money. So that is one reason. That's the hard thing.
That's a good one.
You also loved your business. It was not only, but you love it. In some point, you need to let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the second thing is, I'm a person that I can stick on something and continue doing that. But you need also to be wise. So if you feel something doesn't move forward, stop it. Better stop earlier than later. And that contradicts the mindset like never give up and don't be a quitter and don't continue.
Yeah.
I'm with you, yes, but you need to be in the position to see. You know, when I started this, when V-Paragon started, V-Paragon started, and within 10 days, I received the first call.
Wow.
So that was amazing because they said, we saw your company. The company was one-man show, it was just me. No one else existed back then. Yeah. And then sometime later came the second line and so on and so on. So I could see there something was happening. But I had also other websites, the Sales Coach, for example, website, or I had the lead generation. The lead generation website was an amazing offer for basically a very small amount of money that people had to pay. They received an amazing quality of service.
Okay.
But it failed. But I realized afterwards why it failed. It failed because the wording and the message was very weak.
Oh, there you are. You learned the lesson on your.
So, so it's not only the service that you're offering, if it's good, it's the message.
Yeah, it's how you communicate it.
With many clients that I have many clients where they have a very good product. I believe them. I can see that, but the message is weak.
Yeah.
And that cannot go good. Because the other person hears what he hears every day. It's a very popular message. Oh, another one. No, it's not another one.
Yeah.
It's different, but how you explain, and so that's the thing.
Yeah. No, I think also one of the moments where you should be considering to pivot is when you become too complacent with your business. And I would say it's just not just with your business, it could be even with your career, because there's moments where you get to a point where it's going fine. It's not amazing, but it's going fine, it's going good, and you just like going through the motions doing the stuff. And I think that's the moment where you should consider pivoting or doing something to shake things up, definitely, whether it's in your business or your career, because it's easy to become complacent, and then things go by very quickly.
How natural come things? You need also to think that
Yeah.
good things come natural.
Yeah.
And that is something that I also I say that a lot, that it's very easy to make money. I mean, it's easy, it's not easy as well, but it's easy in terms of if you do something naturally, you naturally will be good, and naturally you will be successful and make money. So everything that you do, this idea of, oh, I'm working very hard, and that cannot be successful. Because if you like what you do, you don't work hard. You don't even actually work, because you do something that you love. And that is going to bring you success. So it should come naturally. If you too much effort with no results and nothing happens, and
I think that goes back to what we were saying about, listening to your gut also, like what feels right. Does this feel right, or does it feel like, nah, and finding, it takes time sometimes to find what feels right.
Your gut feeling is the best advisor. I strongly tell people, follow your heart. I cannot know your business. I cannot know what you have in your mind. So if you feel that's going to work, go ahead.
Yeah. I think you have to balance it with some data and strategy, but
yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Data is important, strategy, but don't restrict your mind. Go with the flow and see, and things should come naturally. That's why all these people, especially in Southern European countries or in Asia and India, they are forced to become lawyers, let's say, or doctors, because the family, it's the only thing that they know. So my son is a lawyer. And what does this lawyer? He's an unsuccessful, miserable lawyer at the end, because he does something that he doesn't like. He wanted to become a photographer, but that didn't have the prestige that a lawyer had.
Yeah.
So I don't stand for that, for pushing situations. And I also, now that I am older and I hope wiser, I also collaborations that I feel I'm pushing the client. I can push a lot, so but it's not proper, because even if you succeed to have him as a client, it's going to lead to a toxic collaboration, and you don't want that. So yeah.
So
yes, so leave things, follow your gut feeling. If you feel something doesn't move forward, yes, then you need to pivot and change. Absolutely. Don't stick on something that doesn't work forever. Maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think we get stuck with like we were talking about early on, the sunk cost fallacy, that feel like you've invested so much time and energy and and money that you feel like you have to stick to it because of that, and then you're also afraid that you're going to lose something. So it's between that and the loss aversion, and we tend to. I mean, I know that we tend to I do get a lot in our own head, like the little voice that's, telling us good and bad stuff. And so on one hand, you might be, focusing on a confirmation bias. So you'll be looking for things that are going to confirm what you want to hear. And that's why I think it's important to speak to other people about this before you make a big change, because we tend to look for proof that we're right.
When you say now that, you bring in my mind the other thing that I am many times I mentioned, and that is the fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Do you really want your business to succeed, or you want to prove yourself that you were right on something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the confirmation bias. It's really, you want to, you're going to look for evidence, proof, everything telling you that you're right. And that's why, yeah, definitely getting other eyes in on this is to just create some awareness around what's going on in your business and how you are managing it. And also, I mean, as I don't know you, but as entrepreneurs, we tend to be optimistic people,
Yes.
because you wouldn't start a business unless you believed it was going to work. So you have this optimism bias. Oh, I can't say the word, bias as well, where we want to believe it's going to work. So we might get hung on to this idea and not want to let go of it. So yeah, there's a lot of different forces in play that makes it difficult to make that decision in a thoughtful way. And so that's why I think there has to be a sort of method around it, and not just trusting your gut is good, definitely, and I think it should be part of it, but there should be also some data gathering, some strategy, some feedback, and coming up with a real plan of what this is going to look like, and not just thinking, oh, it's not working, let's change. Right?
I don't say to change, I mean, give the effort, but also be prepared to change if it's needed. And listen to people, what they say, but don't take their opinion as the holy grail of truth. So he can listen to what he says, listen to the way he says that. And some truth is inside there. Maybe there's envy. Maybe, who knows? Or many people, they say certain things that you can pick up parts of what they say and connect it to what you think, and then some things make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting outside perspective is always helpful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Be the observer. See things from a distance, and see things as an observer. Observe. And ask yourself, am I happy on what I am doing? Do I see a future here? Do I really make money, or I think I make money? That's also a tough point.
Yeah. Obviously, the money is a good signal also of what's going on in your business. Obviously,
money is one of the pillars in life, because there is nothing. When you distill something, you're gonna conclude in certain ultimate realities. Let's say, death is one of them, for example. Money is the second one. Is where the BS stops. It stops there. There's nothing more to analyze. So does it make money, or it doesn't make money? If it doesn't, then you don't have a business. Maybe you have other sources and you like it as a hobby. That's a different story. But it's not a business.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's complex.
Okay. So pivot or not to pivot? That is the question.
That is the question. I don't know. Maybe yes, I think.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic, Maria.
That was interesting.
That was very interesting.
So I've pivoted. So anybody else has pivoted and wants to talk?
I have a very good feeling about you. Really.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. No, I really have a very good feeling. I think it was the right decision.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see.
To be followed.
Be continued.
To be continued.
Very nice. See you in 2 weeks, Maria.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.